Good morning, teacher. Good morning, dear partners. This is my identification card. So, my name is Michel Chuquimarca, and I'm going to explain the parts of the article for this video. So, here we have the title of the article is Using Genially Games for Enhancing EFL Reading and Writing Skills in Online Education. So, the first part of this is the abstract. So here we have a summary of the main points of the study. Here we have the objective. The aim of this study is to determine the impact of using Genially games for enhancing to improve or improving EFL reading and writing skills. Next, we have the number of the students, the number of the participants that were involved in this study, the level of the students according to the CFR, and then here we have the number of the groups. Each group has, the first group is the experimental group, has 23 people, and the control group 25. The methodology, it's a mixed methodology approach. Here we have to remember a mixed methodology is when you gather information in qualitative and quantitative approaches. Next, the instruments, the pre and post test in both groups. And then the objective in this study is to implement Genially games based activities to improve reading and writing skills. Here we have the writing regarding writing. They showed improvement in terms of recognizing accurate grammar and vocabulary. This last part was the conclusion of the study. It's a summary of the conclusions. Next is the introduction. In the introduction, we have all this academic knowledge background to develop this research. Here we have that this implementation was in the pandemic situation, using information and communication technologies. Its abbreviation is ICTs. This technology to implement, to improve these skills. Here we have a brief introduction with that information. Next are the questions, the research questions. What is the impact of using Genially games when teaching EFL reading and writing skills, and how do students perceive the use of Genially games to foster EFL reading and writing skills? It's necessary to write this because the whole study is to answer these questions, the objective. The next part, the second part of the third part of this article is the literary review. Here in this section, we have the whole background we're going to develop in our study and our research. So here we have the first step of the literature review is teaching challenge during online learning. So if you remember, online learning happened in the pandemic situation. That's why it's first COVID-19 at the first place. So we have to develop this whole idea, teaching in online learning. Here we have some authors about this. To establish a context of this research. The next, ICTs. This is another tool we need to develop in this research is ICTs for teaching foreign language. In this case, English. So this is the development of how ICTs in other studies. Here we have some authors that found some information about how ICTs helps to teach English. We need this background to take into consideration something else to study or to research. Next step is this part, the literature review, teaching EFL reading and writing. How we teach, what are the methodologies to teach EFL reading and writing, to develop good readers, good writers. Here we have this information, always with authors. And next is the objective of this study is gamification in EFL education. We have to find some information about gamification, what's gamification, and how it's applied in EFL education. So gamification is the main objectives are these: goals, rules, and fun. Goals, objective of every part of the study. For example, in this writing as essay, this is a goal, a good essay. Rules, we have to establish rules to gain points, to earn points, not points out of 10, the common points, so it's different from that, because these points are experience points, like a video game. So the more experienced you are, the more intelligent, in this case, the more the better grade you get. And fun, this is the particular focus in this gamification method. If the students doesn't have fun, they probably could understand a topic. So having fun is not the only methodology that focus in having fun to learn something. Gamification is one of them. So this part is just explaining gamification, and it's related to this EFL education. And next is a study of digital games. So that's very important to explain here, because they are implementing these Genially games in EFL classroom. So it's very important to understand what kind of studies of digital games exists in biography, like a reference. As you can see, we see here authors to support this idea. Yeah. And the fourth part is the methodology. We already know that is a mixed methodology. Here we have to set the participants. Here are 48 participants divided into groups. One group is experimental and another a control. The research instruments are a pre and post test. Pre-test to analyze what are the grades or the current level of the students, because we know they are level A2, but not all of them. Probably there are students A1, B1, B2. So this pre-test helps us to know the correct level of them in the control group and experimental group. Yeah? According to the two skills in this study, reading and writing skills. So here we have a procedure. So in the experimental group, we have a pre-test, and then we have to implement the Genially games to improve these skills, writing and reading. So, and then we have a pre-test. It's supposed that the post-test is supposed that the post-test is better graded than the pre-test in this experimental group, because of this implementation of this methodology to gamification to improve those skills. And the control group is necessary to know if it's in this case a traditional classroom. We have pre-test and post-test almost the same grade, so it's necessary to know and compare the post-test of both groups to see if the improvement it works, if the Genially games works to improve reading and writing skills. That's why we need another group. It's a traditional way to continue their classes and compare both of them. Next is the explanation that I told you. The next part, the fifth part, is the results and discussions. So the results are the analyzed data gathered from the post-test. So when we compare, we have the pre-test and post-test experimental group we compare both of them. We know that applying Genially Games, this gamification methodology, improves this reading and writing skills. And we compare also the post-test of control groups to prove that Genially Games implementing gamification in a class, EFL classroom, helps us to improve these skills, to foster new skills to communicate in writing ways. So here we have statistical data. Here TP, they are statistical data to compare this information. Next, here we have a survey that the researchers implemented to those students. Here is disagree and strongly disagree. As you can see, there are few people that says that Genially Games doesn't foster these activities or the motivation of the students. These grades, this motivation. So as you can see, most of them are strongly agree or neutral about the motivation using Genially to foster this learning, EFL learning. Next, conclusions. This part is is focused on the main topic of this article, the main ideas. So here we have conclusion is the implementing Genially Games improves or enhances these EFL reading and writing skills of participants. In this case, where both groups, in experimental groups, this implementing foster these skills. Yes, experimental groups, as I told you, and improve academic performance. So, pre-test and post-test, it's a way to measure this implementation of new methodologies, and we can see if some methodology is good or doesn't. So it's about academic performance. In this case, experimental groups and post-test is better than pre-test in experimental groups, and obviously is better than a traditional classroom. And finally, we have the references used for the author. As we can see in this part of literature review, we have a lot of authors. So at the end of the article, we have the list of reference of those authors. Yeah. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this explanation, and I see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.